I didn't see you there. Welcome to my house. We're going to talk about financial freedom today. And I thought the best way to start off a video about financial freedom was doing the obligatory internet douche move of showing you my $200,000 Tesla. And then to make it even douchier, I said how much money the car costs. And then what we're going to do next, well, after I turn off my windshield wipers while I'm in my garage, what I'm going to do next is do the obligatory douchey move of saying that this is my second home, my lake house, and then I'm going to actually give you the 5 steps to financial freedom. So we have to get all the internet douchebaggery out of the way, and then I'm going to actually teach you some stuff that could be really, really meaningful for you for the rest of your life. Stay tuned. Come on in. All right, so when I was a kid, I don't know if it's like ingrained in us or wired in us, but I had this sense of I just wanted a different life than everybody else. That to me is freedom. And the only reason, we need to set some context here. The only reason why money matters is to sustain whatever life that you want. That's the purpose of money. The purpose of money is fun. So the life you want, money makes it sustainable. So if we look at money from that context, I think it frees us up to be much more intentional about the lives that we want, because that's financial freedom. Freedom is not having $1 million in the bank. Freedom is not having a $100 million business. Freedom has nothing to do with the actual dollar amount. Freedom is you get to do what you love. You get to do what makes you happy. You do the things that make you happy. That's freedom. Sadly, that requires you to do some work. And by that I mean, I don't mean work hard on a business, although you're going to have to do that too. What I mean is actually ask the really hard questions of what do I want and what do I want my life to be. If you want to be free at all, staying in a job, not being in a job, retiring, not retiring, if you want to be free, first you got to know what you want. And that is a much harder question to answer than most people realize. So the path that most people take is they go after the money. They may or may not get the money, but they believe that once they get the money, then they can achieve the freedom. So there's the financial reward, so I can have the freedom reward. Now, I bought into this for a very long time. I'll pursue the money, and when I pursue the money, I can define life on my own terms. What really happens is that the money becomes a distraction from you ever defining life on how you want. And so money becomes the game rather than your life being a game, when the purpose of money is for you to live the life that you want and sustain the life that you want. So I have goals, right? One of my goals that I haven't accomplished yet is I want to buy about a 50-acre plot of land, and I want to build an intentional community on it, because that's how I want to live my life. And I could do it right now, but it would mean that I have to compromise my existing lifestyle, right? I might have to sell this house or one of my other houses, or I would have to trade the things that I really enjoy. And the only reason why I have this house is because I really enjoy it, right? The only reason I have that car is because I really enjoy it. And so when your life is built around what you actually enjoy and the money becomes the thing that makes it sustainable, then you're free. Then you're free. So there are, I believe I have boiled freedom, specifically financial freedom, into 5 sequential steps. And doing them out of order breaks the system. And when most people get them out of order, because most people do, they get stuck. And so we're going to go into what this looks like. Number one, get a marker that works, so I don't get everything right. Number 1, we'll use green for money. Financial freedom. 5 things. Number one, you are required to decide. Decide what you want. Decide that you want your life to be different. Decide you want to make more money. Now, when you decide something that is in the future, meaning I want something to be different, I want to build something, I want to go somewhere, there is a future vision and you're pulling that into the present. So that requires you to be able to see what you want your life to look like. Most people are doing the opposite. They want something that other people have because they're comparing themselves to other people, which, by the way, you never win that game. I'm sure even Bill Gates goes to a party and is like, that guy's fitter than me, right? We're all playing this comparison game and it disempowers us. So it is not about you wanting what they have, right? There's a reason the 10th commandment is do not covet. The idea of comparing and wanting what someone else has doesn't really make you happy. So what it requires is for you to decide what in your life you actually want, and we pull it into the present, rather than seeing what other people have and figuring out the system to get it. The system to get that thing, or the system to get that money, or the system to look or be like that person or have their result. Because it may or may not be the result that you want. The result you want is the life you want. What does that look like? And now we're going to pull that into the present. Instead of seeing what other people did in the past, and now we're sacrificing our present for other past. It's a disempowering game. We have to be clear on what it is that we actually want. What business we want to start, what life we want. And when you know that, it becomes much easier to stack the dominoes so that you can push them over and they fall really easily. All right, that's number two. Now, that's number one. Number two is a bit of a head wonker, and it's cut out. Cut out. The universe requires you to make a trade. You don't get without giving something up. You have to cut things out of your life in order to create the space, create the room for you to open yourself up to something new. So sometimes you have to cut out 3 hours of TV a night, or it is hitting the snooze alarm, or it's cutting out a relationship. In today's world, we do not have a lack of anything. We have an overabundance of food, and we know this because it's rare to be fit. It is not rare to be overweight. We don't have a food crisis. We have overabundance. Right? There's excess capital in the world. Anybody can raise money. There are opportunities everywhere. And we have too many distractions. We have too many things that we could do. And that requires you to be even more intentional about what it is that you want, and then cut out the things that don't align with that. So it's really hard to meet the right person in a romantic relationship when you're with the wrong person, right? We don't get to find the right person until we cut out the wrong person. So in every area of life, we have to cut out something that doesn't serve us to create the space for the next thing to show up. And our brains don't like to do that because all our brains see is what we lose in the immediate. We don't see what we gain in the long run. So when you are making a pivot of actually thinking and functioning like an entrepreneur, you have to think about creating room, creating space, because you probably aren't giving yourself the ability to do that. You're probably too busy to make any money. And so we have to cut that out so that we can expand, we can learn, we can experiment, we can give and make deposits to the relationships that we want to foster over the long term. So you have to cut something out in order to create space for you to build what it is that you have decided that you want to build. So you really can't do this out of order, right? Like if you want to get in shape, for example, you might have to cut out cheeseburgers. It's the trade. If you want to be in shape, you might have to cut out that snooze alarm that you hit it because you're not going to the gym. You've got to cut out something to create room for the next thing. Otherwise, you don't get it. It's impossible. Number 3, this is when we expand. This, now we have created room for us to expand into something else. Now, part of the cutting out might be cutting out unreasonable expenses. So you have $1,000 extra per month, moving into a smaller place, moving or using a car that you're not proud to roll up in, but it still gets you from point A to point B, so that you've got $1,000 a month to put into a business, to invest in the stock market, for you to put as a deposit on something that you want to pay off over time, right? You don't get to expand until you have the room to expand into it. You can't build a business. You cannot experiment with new things if your entire life is monopolized with things that distract you. And this happens all the time with beginning entrepreneurs, is like they want to read something, or they want to learn something, or they want to understand something, but they don't have the room to actually do it. You got to give something up. Then you can experiment and afford to fail a bit. Then you can afford to go to the conference. You can learn the new thing and apply it because you have the mental room to be able to do it. Something has to go so that you have the room to expand into it. And when you expand, new opportunities come up and the cycle continues. In order for us to continue to expand, we'll have to leave something from behind. And the way one of my mentors, Dan Sullivan, puts it, he says, as you expand, you are deciding what from the past you want to bring forward into the future. So if you don't look at as giving anything up, but simply deciding, what in my life do I want to carry forward? And then what vision do I have that I want to continue to bring to life? Now it's always about forward progress. All right, that is number 3, expand. Number 4, and by the way, what are we expanding into? This is things like experimenting with businesses. I think Robert Kiyosaki hit the nail on the head when he talked about, if you're working a job, stay in your job, you start your side thing, you take the profits from that and you invest it, and that allows you to move from an employee mindset or a consumer mindset to more of a producer, to more of a business owner, to more of an entrepreneur, to somebody who has financial freedom. So we're expanding in business, we're expanding with new relationships with people who stretch us, because you are the average, the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You do normalize the things that you think about. So if you're listening to podcasts or watching videos of people who are doing great things that you find extraordinary, and you do that consistently, your brain starts to normalize that and says, oh, this ain't a big deal. So as part of expansion is also expanding the mindset. Are you investing into books and podcasts? And we have a series of podcasts at capitalism.com. They're free, and they're interviews with some of the most successful people on the planet. Just search capitalism.com or my name wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you do that over time, your brain just normalizes these big things. It's very good for your brain. So relationships, and then it leads us to number 4, which is invest. Number 4 is invest, because investing assumes long-term result. You do not win, you do not get financially free by sacrificing long-term payoffs for short-term wins. It doesn't happen. The more you play the short-term game, the more you compromise the long-term result. So a lot of people, they're operating from stress response because they haven't cut anything out. They're still living beyond their means because they're trying to portray something, or because they're always busy, because there's all these distractions, so there's nothing that's been cut out. So as a result, we're always in stress response. And what that forces you to do is think about short-term things, short-term wins, short-term results. And that compromises the long-term exponential growth that you could have if you consistently invested over time in the things that you want. I have 5 areas of investment. That's a video for another day, but I have something called the Tribe 5. These are my 5 areas of investment. Time, relationships, income, body, and expansion. Are you investing long-term in your body? Are you investing long-term in relationships? Are you investing long-term in your growth? So what that requires is regular practice, regular gives into your relationships, regular investment in your business, regular investment in your brain and your body. Now, this also means investing your finances. Investing your finances for the things that have high ROI. What are those things? Education, meaning financial education. There are things like relationships, the mentor, the mastermind, the conference that you go to, these places where you meet people who can create new opportunities for you. It's investing in things like your body, because when you're really jazzed and energetic and fit and healthy, you're more productive and you can handle more. It's investments into things like dividend paying stock, into things that produce more cash flow. And we have videos all about this. If you subscribe to the channel, you can find all of our investment stuff for free. And that type of a long-term investment compounds over time. And number 5, sounds silly, but it's true, and it's give. You are never free, ever. You are never financially free if you're in a take mentality. If you're trying to extract, if you're trying to extort, if you're trying to scam, if you're trying to hack, if you're trying to work the system, you never get financially free. You have to be operating from a place of, I have something, I have a skill, I have a product, I have an idea, I have passion, I have time. What is it that you have to give? For some people who are just starting out, it's, I know what life I want, I've cut out a lot, so now I just have time. That's what I have to give, time. And I'm going to expand my relationships and my business knowledge by investing in a mentor and giving him a whole hell of a lot of time and energy. And giving and giving and giving and giving and giving until it hurts and you win an opportunity that changes your life. People want the hack, they want the system, they want the formula, they want the push button solution. But the truth is, the only thing that creates financial freedom is you deciding that you want a different life, cutting out the things that are holding you back from that life, expanding into new possibilities, investing for the long term, and constantly giving out of abundance. And that reinforces abundance. That's how you get financially free. That's how you get happy. That's how you build a life that you want. That's how you exit from this game of comparison and this game of living up to other people's standards and this game of comparing yourself to other people and this game of, well, this douchebag in the Tesla and his car has this, and retire from that game. You are playing your own game, and your game is going to look like no one else's. You still get it with a clear vision of what you want, cutting out the things that hold you back, expanding, investing, and giving. If you need more like this, we put out tons of free content. Make sure you're subscribed and look up the podcast. Just search capitalism.com or my name wherever you listen to podcasts. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Thanks for watching.